You too.
First and foremost, massive congratulations. We've been talking about you for quite a long time around this part, and the England manager's been talking about you as well. So you must have known you were close to a call-up, but now that it's actually happened, how does it feel?
Yeah, it's unreal, to be honest. Obviously, I got my hopes up a few times last year. I remember there was a few sleepless nights before the squad got announced, and nothing came of it in the end. But I knew, because obviously Gareth was mentioning my name, that I was getting closer. And to be honest, this time round, I thought that I didn't even think about it. Like, I forgot that the squad announcement was that day. I just went into training like any other day, and found out in the morning. So it was great news, and I couldn't believe it.
How did you find out?
I'd literally just been doing some media thing at Ellen Road, and I went straight into training then, and I got a FaceTime call off the technical director. I was like, what's that? And I was trying to get ready for training and get changed. And so I didn't answer it, and then I got another one straight away. So I thought I better answer. And he was showing me the email from England to the club secretary, showed me my name above or below Kalvin's, and yeah, that was how I found out.
I wonder if there's a part of you now that has a chance to reflect on what it's taken for you to get here. Mm-hmm. Because it was not easy for you, I think, in the early days at Chelsea. You were loaned out an awful lot. Yeah. Moved to Middlesbrough, then to Leeds, where you've had extraordinary success. So it's been quite a journey to get here. And is now the time when you look back and reflect on all of
that? Yeah, I think that not every player's career pathway is the same. I think at different times in your career, you have different kind of obstacles in the way. And it's just one of them where I always believed that it was going to happen, and I always kind of hoped that I was going to get to this level. And within myself, without kind of speaking out loud and kind of fronting it for everyone, I always had that self-belief I was capable, and I just needed to keep working hard. And I knew I would never give up until the day that I retired. So it was just about hard work and keeping on going.
There's been a lot talked about your background and your quite sophisticated upbringing, and the way you speak as well. You speak incredibly well. Yeah. You play several musical instruments. I think you speak a lot of languages as well. 4 of them, is that right?
No, I don't.
Conversational?
People kind of overrate a lot of things, but I can speak French and understand it, and I kind of picked up, I can understand Spanish but can't speak it.
The reason I asked, Patrick, is that I wonder whether you feel you've had to work extra hard, fight harder to be accepted in this sort of environment, because it's quite a tough industry, football, as you know yourself. And I wonder whether you feel, because of that quite privileged upbringing with the private school and everything, you've had to work harder.
I think there was always a slight stigma when I was younger. But then kind of football's evolved, and people are more understanding of not just my situation, but everyone's situation, and learn that you can't just judge someone by the way they've been brought up or the background that they've got, because you've got to let them show their stuff and then kind of judge them. And I think it's been something that's kind of developed in football as the years have gone on. Obviously, since I started when I was 17, it's obviously changed a lot to now, 10 years ago. So, yeah, I think it's one of them things that it's not so much of a problem now. Back in the day, I never actually thought it was that much of a problem either. It's only when you really ever think about it that there might have been slight issues, but nothing that I kind of have any regret towards. Or
do you think you maybe faced a bit of prejudice then in the past because you were too nice or too posh, or whatever phrase people were using for you?
Not so much prejudice. I think that maybe before people knew me, they would have had this opinion of me because they might have heard the way that I speak in an interview, or someone would have told them this guy went to private school, and then they kind of create that image in their head before they actually know who I am. But I think that goes with a lot of things, and I think a lot of people have harder battles to fight, and I'm not going to complain about that.
England have got 3 games in 7 days now, and you'll have noticed that Dominic Calvert-Lewin's had to withdraw, and the manager hasn't called anybody else up. Yeah. There's only 2 strikers in the squad, you and Harry Kane. Does that give you extra hope that this might not just be a first call-up, it could well be a debut for you at some point over the next 10 days or so?
To be honest, I haven't really tried to think about it. There's no point thinking too far ahead in the future. I'll just come into the camp and try to integrate with the boys and make sure that I'm fit in with the squad and enjoy myself and see what I can learn whilst I'm here as well. I've seen today with my first proper training session that the standard's very high. and playing with these guys, I know that it's going to improve myself. So I've not really thought too far ahead.
What's Gareth said to you?
I had a chat with him as soon as I arrived. I don't know if you noticed, I arrived super early.
Did you? That keen?
No, it's just one of them where there was no traffic and the car picked me up early and I was here really early. I had a chat with him just about how things were going at Leeds, and said that, look, you were unlucky last year, you just missed out, but we're really happy to have you and want to help you settle in, basically. So you can tell around the place the kind of atmosphere that there is and the culture that he's kind of built around this England team. And it is a great feeling. You can see the togetherness already, even amongst the boys. So it has been really easy to settle in.
Good man. Last one from me. Look, it's transfer deadline day that we're talking to you on, and Leeds United are on the verge of a pretty big signing in Daniel James. Now, as a striker, you know that to stay in this England squad, you've got to keep scoring goals for your club. So I wonder, when you see a player of that talent joining Leeds, that must give you hope. What does he bring? What does he add in terms of quality to Leeds?
I think it would be easy to just say that it brings extreme pace, but we've played against him a few times in the Premier League, and you've seen he's got quality as well. So it's up to him to try and force his way into the team. Now he's at Leeds, and I'm sure he has a lot to offer. Hopefully he can provide a fair few assists.
Good man. Best of luck. Thanks, Patrick.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Rob. We'll now jump briefly online to take a couple of questions from Carrie Brown of beIN Sports.
Hello, Patrick. Nice to see you.
Hi.
First of all, many congratulations on your call-up. We know that Bielsa is a manager that really loves to get his team players into international sides. What has he said to you, and how important has he been in shaping you into an England player?
He's not actually said too much to me. I think he wanted to kind of keep me level-headed and keep me working hard, obviously concentrating on the game that was at the weekend. But after the game, he saw me talking to my mum and dad and just came over and congratulated them and just said enjoy it. So he's not one to kind of make a massive fuss over it. But as you mentioned, in terms of the kind of imprint he's had on me and on my game, it's massive. He's improved me no end, and I think that goes for the whole squad. You can see that, like certain aspects of my game that I would probably never even noticed that needed improving or even thought about. He's very meticulous with detail and is always wanting to improve. So it's a perfect match, because obviously I want to keep getting better and better.
So with the Bielsa training 3 games in the space of that 5 days isn't too much of a physical challenge to you, is it?
No, it shouldn't be too much. I mean, games are always slightly different to training, because you've got the extra addition of fans being there and the adrenaline and stuff. But training is quite hard. I know what you're trying to say.
So many former players have said that there is no other player in England that is so similar to Harry Kane in terms of style and substance as you as a player. How much have you modelled your game on him? And in training, how much is the man different to the man that you come up against on a pitch?
To be honest, I've not really modelled my game on Harry. Obviously, he's the best striker. For me, probably the best striker in the world, out and out number 9. But there's certain aspects that obviously I look up to him and see that I can improve on by watching him. So just even today in training, we only trained for maybe an hour, but you notice how kind of crisp the contacts with the ball are when he's finishing and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know whether our game is as similar as people quite make out, because sometimes I'm running in behind a lot more and there's different aspects of it. But yeah, there's definitely things I can learn from him.
So many England fans didn't appreciate the talent of Kalvin Phillips, one of England's out-and-out stars of the Euros. Are you looking forward to that, to showing your talents to an audience that may not disgracefully see as much of Leeds United as they will of England?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm just excited to kind of grab any opportunity I get and hopefully do the same as what Kalvin did, because as you said, a lot of people kind of didn't understand why he was in the team, and then the Euros that he had was just fantastic, and I think now people understand and realise what a great player he is.
Thanks, Carrie. We'll go back in the room with Alex Howe from BBC Sport.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi. You right?
Why do you think you've been called up now and not before? I know you said before you had a few sleepless nights and maybe thought you should have been in the squad before, but why now?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I couldn't answer that. I just know that whenever I did end up getting called up, it was a proud moment for me, and obviously I was delighted. So I was just constantly working hard and hoping that it came one day.
And spoke about Kalvin Phillips there. What has he said to you about joining up with the squad?
He just said how good an atmosphere it was and basically how much fun it is to be here. And to be honest, he kind of like hyped it up so that I was really excited for it. And not that I wasn't excited already, but to be honest, having him here, is I knew a lot of the lads already from playing against them from back in the under-21 days. But having someone who you with day in, day out at your own club makes it a lot easier to settle in as well.
I know you said you haven't let yourself think about it, but if it was to come to make your debut and potentially at Wembley, what would that mean to you and how would that feel?
Yeah, it's every kid's dream, isn't it? I mean, it's very cliche to say that every kid grows up dreaming of being a footballer and playing for England, but it's true. I mean, it's the pinnacle to represent your country. And it's something that I've dreamed about, playing for England, since I was very young, and it's always been an ambition of mine. And it was a goal that I set myself this season, see if I can get called up at some point. And now I've just got to try and take the opportunity.
What was it like watching the team's success over the summer? Did it give you an added drive to want to be involved in the next squads? And also the World Cup isn't far away either.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I enjoyed watching it like every England fan did. The rush that it kind of gave the country as a whole. I remember I sat watching every game in front of the TV, sometimes on my own, sometimes with fans, with friends and family. But yeah, it did. It just kind of made me want to be involved even more.
And kind of a left field one to finish. Cristiano Ronaldo's back in the Premier League and coming probably as a striker. What is it like as a fan to see him back? And are you excited to see what he's got? Yeah,
I think that some of the transfers in the Premier League this year, they've made the league even better than it already was. I mean, every team, the top teams have strengthened, and it's going to be fascinating to see who kind of comes out on top. But obviously being able to attract Ronaldo back to the Premier League, it's going to be interesting.
Thanks, Alex. We'll jump back online with one from Graham Smythe, the Yorkshire Evening Post.
Hi, Patrick. You've talked about getting off to a bit of a sticky start with the Leeds fans initially because of the injuries you had and whatnot. How much did it mean to you to hear the England's number 9 chants at Burnley on Sunday?
Yeah, it's always nice. I think I heard that at the end of last season at some point when they were kind of singing. I think it was away at Southampton as well, kind of tongue in cheek. But yeah, it's nice whenever the fans sing your name. And as you mentioned, it's not always smooth sailing when you first move to a club. But the bond that I've got with the Leeds fans now, and that we've kind of created together, I think it is very big, and I appreciate all the time they sing for me.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks, Graham. Next we'll go to Nizar Kinsella from goal.com.
Hi, Patrick. Congratulations. I was seeing that you were in the under-21s with Gareth Southgate and Harry Kane. I just wanted to get a little bit of your memories of those times and sort of how do you feel about reuniting with them after, I think it's 8 years?
Yeah, it does seem a long time ago. To be honest, I don't have too many memories. I think the last game I played might have been at Burnley. I can't remember. It might have been against Portugal for under-21s. But yeah, it was a long time ago. So I think, as you said, being involved with that under-21 team, there's a fair few familiar faces here, which has helped me settle in. But yeah, apart from that, the under-21s was a long time ago.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up a little bit with how did you sort of manage the emotions of waiting your time, because you see in other people you did play with that you set ups go on to make debuts and things like that, and you've had to wait. Did that fuel you, or did that make you angry or annoyed, or were you just happy for people? How did you handle that sort of situation?
I was happy for the lads that kind of got ahead and did their thing, but it kind of fueled me to kind of push on, and I never stopped working for it, even though at times it might have looked far in the distance, being called up for England. I always kept pushing towards that and seeing if I could put myself at least in contention, and just kept working hard and hoping one day it would happen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nizar. We'll shortly move to an embargoed section, but before we do, we've got one last follow-up question from Kerry Brown of Bein Sports.
Patrick, at the end of the Euros, which ended in that really cruel penalty moment, Kalvin sprinted half the way of the Wembley pitch to comfort Bukayo. I know you're so close to Kalvin, and it's so bittersweet because reaching the first final in 55 years, taking it all the way to penalties and losing, but also the triumph of that. He said how excited it was, how exciting it is in this camp, desperate to get you in there. What is the mood, and how much does that moment with Kalvin just sum up the togetherness in England and the togetherness you all have at Leeds?
Yeah, I think that's not only just the togetherness in the camp, but that sums up Kalvin as a person. He's a very caring and loving guy, and obviously he wasn't worried about anything else other than kind of consoling and make sure that Bukayo was all right. And I think that's what most of the squad are like. They know that they can rely on the guy next to them if they need someone. So that togetherness is there from number 1 all the way up to number 26 in the squad, or however many people there are. But in terms of last year, obviously it's coming short in the final. I think that's actually pushed, kind of given the team extra drive because they want to go further. I mean, this England team's done something that no England team's done before in the last 2 major tournaments. So they've already done something that they should be extremely proud of. But the next thing is keeping improving and growing and pushing on to that next thing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Okay, that concludes the live section of this media conference. We'll now move on to a short section embargoed until 10:30 p.m. this evening, and we'll start on Zoom.